Right, guys. Had to step away for a minute. Back again. We're going to discuss this time Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League. We're going to talk about some more DCEU news as well. We talked a little bit about Cyborg. Shout out to R2 Lemon for coming up on our feed. There's a couple other viewers who came up and was watching the Hangout. So if R2 is there, we could always discuss some of the stuff in the Hangout. And if we want to, you can discuss some of the stuff that I showed in the previous streaming there on Cyborg. So yeah, express your views. No problem with that. It's always good to have a voice out here. And that's what's really cool. Sorry about having to step away for a minute, but I am back. I'll keep this original footage here for those of you who want to get a quick recap on stuff. Yeah, so let's talk about the release of Snyder Cut. I did actually put out something yesterday on Zack Snyder's cut, and I do believe that his cut of Justice League will come out. But I wanted to redo it because the internet kind of stopped for a minute and I was not able to close off the video, so I had to cancel the video because it just kept on rolling on when the internet came back. I just kept on going on, you know, on and on and on. I couldn't shut it down, so I had to start it all over. And in the Snyder Cut, why we believe that the Snyder Cut will be released is because of I forgot what they're called. I think it's Heroes something. Heroic Gateway, who provided for us some of the footage from the deleted footage from Justice League that Zack Snyder had. A lot of deleted footage, from this footage of Cyborg to with him retrieving the mother box, my parademons coming after him, and other footage such as Alfred seeing the League, and just a number of things. Even Superman, when I think they were the first to release the footage with Superman returning and meeting Alfred. So they've had access by someone in Warner Brothers, whether it's Zack Snyder or somebody affiliated with Zack Snyder. Heroic Gateway have had access to these things. And Heroic Gateway basically hinted that they had seen Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League. And that can only mean one thing. It must be that, and of course, they couldn't give out the details, which is very interesting. You wouldn't give the details. So Zack Snyder's been constantly talking about all his films, from Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, Justice League. He's been talking on and on about these things. And so and Vero. So it's very clear to me that Warner Brothers will release the Snyder Cut. I saw a guy on YouTube, his channel. He was talking about how he thinks Warner Brothers' strategy is to allow for as much money as possible to be made out of this Justice League theatrical version that's now in home box office. And when that run is finished and they're cleared of that, they'll probably put out the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, which will earn some more money for Justice League in home box office. So I do believe that's what really is going to happen. It's inevitable. We will get the Snyder cut. Warner Bros. Will satisfy all the customers. And as I said before, I do believe almost every single DCEU fan out there, if you're a DCEU fan, a real DCEU fan, you'll want to see the Snyder cut, definitely. And you probably will appreciate it quite a lot. No matter who you are, you will appreciate the Snyder cut. So definitely, I think the Snyder Cut's coming out sometime at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. You're going to see that Zack Snyder cut. But even so, it's not a guarantee unless we advocate for it. So still, I'm all with everybody, every single DCU fan out there. Hashtag release the Snyder cut. We definitely want to see that. And I do think Warner Brothers is also going to back everybody on that. And I can tell that Zack Snyder already got the green light for that. So that's crystallized vision. And that would be wonderful, because not only would have Warner Brothers pushed the direction that they're going in with what happened with Justice League, and what you remember, circumstances kind of allowed for things to happen the way they did. But also that we get a Snyder cut of that, which is almost like what we got for almost every single Zack Snyder movie except for Man of Steel, would be also awesome. So You never seen a Snyder cut for Dawn of the Dead because he didn't need to do an ultimate cut, director's cut, or anything like that. And 300, he never had to do another cut of it. He got another cut for Watchmen. Sucker Punch was what it was. You never got another cut for that. Owls of Gahu was what it was. You never got another cut for it. Man of Steel was what it was. You got another cut for Batman v Superman. And now you're going to get another cut for Justice League for sure with Zack Snyder stuff. I just wish, though, that Warner Brothers would have just somehow, some way, I don't know how possible. It probably wasn't. Well, I don't know. You see, the problem with having a new director is if that new director has other ideas, what are you going to do? And of course, Warner Brothers wanted the movie to be a certain way anyway. And they tried, and they just failed at what they did. You know, I'm saying again, as far as I'm concerned, Justice League was a pretty good movie. Let's see what's happening out here. R2, yeah, I'm back, man, bro. You wanna join? All right, let me join you up here. Let me give you the link. Now, just remember, I'm only flashing it for a brief moment in time, then I'm taking it away. Okay? Yeah. So I think Warner Bros. Is absolutely going to try and rectify their wrong. Let me see. Is my audio on here? Yeah. Okay. So you should be in the Hangout round about now. I'm gonna pull this Hangout link so that no trolls will come up in here. I'm listening for you, R2. Are you up? R2, are you in there? You're here? All right. Yeah. Good. Good. Okay. I removed that link right there. Good. Welcome, man. Welcome. 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 How you doing, R2?
Pretty good so far.
All right, all right.
So I'm starting a summer job tomorrow.
Okay. Like I gotta get to go and work in a couple of seconds too. I gotta get out of here. But
okay. Yeah, man, hey, let's talk while I still can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So sorry about the last time. I had to go away and deal just to make sure everything was okay with family. So I had to cut the hangout short. But talk to me, man. What do you think of? First of all, we're talking about releasing the Snyder Cut. What do you think about Zack Snyder's cut coming out very soon? Do you think that's going to happen? Why? I gave some reasons. What do you think? Hello?
Well, we're starting. We're going to start with a shitload of a load of unanswered questions that we've had since before the movie came out, and we've had since those were cut. That's one thing. And yeah, the movie getting its second chance, but it was denied of when the didn't its first chance when it came on. I have not.
You're still thinking. I was wondering. I was wondering what was the pause. So you're basically saying that you think that there are a lot of questions concerning Justice League and the background, what happened, and you think that some of those questions will be sort of answered by the Snyder Cut.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. But do you think that the Snyder Cut is going to come out sometime either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year? My reasons for it were, as I said before, it's clear that Warner Brothers, the fact that it's alleged, of course, it's not alleged. No, actually, Heroic Gateway said on Twitter that they'd seen it and that it's awesome. They actually said that. So I do believe, and they say because of, non-disclosure, seems like they had to sign a non-disclosure form. They couldn't say much more than that. So it means, I think, that Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder, they are going to put out the Snyder Cut, and pretty soon. But as another YouTuber was saying, and I was able to see that guy's channel, I believe that they are waiting for this particular run of Justice League, this theatrical cut run, to maximize how much it can earn, And when that's done, you know, they're going to put out the Snyder Cut and just push Justice League to another set of numbers and figures, just like with the Ultimate Cut that helped BVS somewhat push its figures upwards. What do you think?
Yeah, that's most likely that's going to be something like that. And if it's coming at the late of this year, it could be I don't know if I should say a good bouncing ground for Aquaman, or something of a waiting print, or if it's the early next year, it's going to be a waiting period, kind of bridge between Aquaman and Shazam.
Yeah, I was thinking about Aquaman and Shazam, and I was thinking they may put it out before Aquaman. Comic-Con's coming right around the corner. Aquaman and Shazam is starting to come in. Notice Warner Bros. Very cleverly, they did not try to compete with Marvel. So while Infinity War and Black Panther were out there was nothing with DC. They just got radio silent. And now that they're starting to clear that gap, we're heading towards Comic-Con. We're hearing a little bit more about Aquaman, a little bit more about Shazam, right? They had a Shazam ad, and Shazam's probably just spoofing everything, right? Which is funny, you know, see him with that drink, and he's sucking that drink, and he's spoofing Superman, Batman v Superman. He's spoofing that. He's spoofing.
That's a great meme.
It's really funny.
Speaking of a great meme, let me recreate it prior.
There you go. And Shazam is what's cool is they're really operating in the character of Shazam. Shazam pokes fun of a lot of things, so it absolutely works that you have Shazam doing this. So again, I like how the DC's handling their characters, how the characters are operating within the parameters of what they're supposed to be. And I don't want to say anything more about what I dislike about certain things and so on. I'm not going to go into all of that. I'm just going to focus on what I like. So, yeah, we're going to have a Snyder Cut, man. I think we're going to have a Snyder Cut. But I still think, R2, that you, me, everybody needs to put that hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And we need to put even more pressure down just to indicate how much it's in demand. I even heard Marvel fans saying that they were longing to see the Snyder Cut of Justice League more than they were longing to see Infinity War, which is crazy. That means
it is.
This is big demand.
Yeah. That actually reminds me of that. Remember the WordPress blog I shared?
Right.
Something about the Snyder Cut is something also the Iris West thing, and you saw the article I posted. I posted the Justice League.
Right, you posted it up in Justice League Unite.
Yeah, and also I probably the real Justice League also group. There's also that kind of that. The Barry Allen and Iris West relationship is also something that I would also like to see shown in the Snyder Cut, and how Iris West was planned to be shown and intercepted into the DCEU.
Right.
Because we have seen the CW show, the version of Iris, and during this season, which I have not watched very much, but we know how Iris West's reputation has been really made pretty bad.
Well, I don't know.
That's still the thing. And seeing how Iris West and the rest of the Flash family could be pulled in the DCEU would be great, because the Snyder Cut gonna show the foundation that Zack Snyder was building in the Justice building for there to be when he was creating it. So exactly.
I think Zack Snyder was going to introduce a number of other guys like Volko, etc. So we'll see what the Snyder Cut looks like. And the nice thing about it, we know the Snyder Cut won't have time restrictions this time. That he'll actually have the freedom to really fully give what he wants to give. So I am looking forward to that with bated breath. Shout out to you, Tony Temper. Tony Temper right now, he's on our feed. I just gave you, he said, hello, gentlemen. Tony Temper actually is on my other channel, What You Need, where I discuss boxing, and he wanted to know a couple of things about boxing, and he's moved across from that channel to this one, where we discuss mostly the DCEU right now, movies. But, dude, I will get back to boxing. There's a lot of things I want to say about boxing, but I have to sort of temper that for now and focus on other things. I'm trying to build some community up in here and some real good vibes. So and if you want to join us, Tony Temper, in the hangout, you can let us know as well. Well, that's dope, man, Tony Temper. I know you told us that Infinity War to you felt like half a movie, as if it was incomplete. I guess the cliffhanger and everything probably had you thinking that. You know, people know what I think about Infinity War, but there are some good things about Infinity War, but that's for another time, another day. We're dealing with DCEU news, the Snyder Cut, particularly. Excited about seeing Zack Snyder's vision fully on the screen. I have seriously defended the movie Justice League because I felt it was unfairly driven into the mud. I still like the combination to a higher extent of what Whedon and Snyder did. But it is a double whammy for those who don't like Whedon, those who don't like Zack Snyder. It was like a double whammy. It was just no way you could have win that one. Oh, you want to join the hangout? You want to join the hangout, Tony Temple? Okay, let me show you how we're gonna join the hangout. Let me send a link for you. Now, I don't keep the link all the time. I just kind of send it and then I pull it back because I don't want trolls to get this link. Okay, so here it is. Join us, man. Join us. There you go. I'm gonna wait for you to come in. All right. Once you come in, mute your mic. I'm gonna mute my mic, and so will whoever's talking. Their mic must be unmuted. Everybody else has to mute their mic. Okay. There's the hangout there. You got it? All right, man. I gotta pull that. So as soon as I hear your voice, I'm pulling this thing because I don't want trolls to come up in here. I've had a bad experience with them. You here? All right. We're gonna mute our mics and we'll wait for you. Okay. All right, R2, let's mute our mics a second.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't see him. I haven't seen him say anything. He hasn't come in. I'm gonna have to pull this link right now. So I'm pulling the link. Oh, there he is.
Hey guys.
All right, man. It's good to see you. I gotta pull this link here. Let me just pull this link so nobody comes in and trolls. Right, man. It's great to see you, Tony. First time I'm seeing you for the first time.
And you? Well, no, the first time chatting. Hold on, let me get my shit together. I need to plug in because my battery's going to die.
Oh, snap.
Oh.
Woo. Hold on. All right. Introduce yourself, Tony. I'm going to just mute so you can talk.
All right. Well, give me 10 seconds. Yeah, I'm just going to plug my stuff together. Come on. Sorry, I should have got this. Oh, I've just cut my nails and I can't get the bloody thing out. Sorry, guys. I'm really unprofessional. Really sorry about this. There we go.
Oh, it's a relaxed environment. Don't worry yourself.
Yay! How you doing, guys?
Fantastic.
It's
fantastic.
Just one little detail. It's Tommy, not Tony.
Sorry about that. My apologies.
That's all right.
I'm dyslexia. Pretty right, I didn't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So, what's your name?
I'm Arttu.
How'd you say Arttu?
Arttu. It's like Arthur, but it's Arttu. Arttu.
So that's R2. R2. I'm Anson.
R2. Oh. How you doing, Anson?
Yeah, and you're Tommy, man. I've seen you everywhere on What You Need and boxing. We talk boxing a lot.
Yeah.
Man, cool.
So,
okay.
I'm based in England, but I'm not English. I'm actually Irish.
Oh, sweet.
And if I had to guess, I'd say you sound like you're from Amsterdam.
No.
Yeah.
Finland.
Finland. Oh, okay. Okay. Reasonably close.
And I'm all the way far away from you guys, about 5 hours or 8 hours away. I'm in the Caribbean. I'm in Trinidad.
Trinidad. Oh, is that next to Trinidad? Is that next to Nigeria? No, my geography's terrible. Forget I said that.
You know Jamaica?
Trinidad. Oh, yes. Sorry, I got that wrong. Yes.
I have a map.
I know Jamaica. Yeah.
So I'm somewhere where Jamaica is. I'm like near to Venezuela, right next to Venezuela, a little bit above Venezuela, where we live right there. There are a lot of Colombians and Venezuelans in here now. Lots of them.
I'm just gonna look.
Yeah. So the question at hand is about the Snyder Cut. I don't know if you're probably a fan of movies. I don't know what type of movies. You probably watch.
Oh, I'm a big Marvel fan. I love Marvel.
Oh, sweet.
I've seen the Justice League, but I thought that movie, to me, it was unfinished. It was rushed. There was more storyline. It didn't feel like a very good introduction to the DC universe.
The shared consensus is that the whole movie was pretty much, rushed and in some way sabotaged. That's pretty much the common consensus.
Right. So there is a common view out there that it was rushed and that they felt like you could have gotten more out of it. So that's why a lot of people are talking about the Snyder Cut. And so we were talking about how it may come out either at the end of this year or it may come out early next year. What do you think?
I don't know, because I'm actually ignorant to this. Is this the sequel?
No, it's actually what happened with the movie, right? Was there was an original director for it. His name was Zack Snyder. And what happened was his daughter died, so he had to pull out from making the movie.
Right.
And so another director came in, which was Joss Whedon, the director who directed 2 of the Avengers films, Age of Ultron and the first Avengers film. He came in to step into Zack Snyder's shoes to finish off the movie. So there were 2 directors that actually directed the movie. And so as a result of that, people wanted to see Zack Snyder's completed vision of the movie, what he would completely have done. So that's why there was this demand for a Snyder Cut. Yeah. So it's going to be
right.
Sort of like a long
2.0.
Yeah, a longer version of what you saw.
Pretty much like what happened with the BVS Ultimate Cut.
Exactly.
Sorry, what happened with what? Sorry.
The Ultimate Edition of BVS that came out. In 2006 when Batman v Superman came out, it was the 2-hour 30-minute version, and then later in the summer, and they released the Ultimate Edition with 30 added minutes in it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I know you're more of a Marvel fan, so you won't keep track of what big blockbusters Marvel may have, like Black Panther, which was pretty dope in my opinion. But when you look at like DC, the DCEUs, it's pretty early. It's a young franchise. And basically, I think it is 3 out of the 5 DCEU films have had extended cuts of them. We had Suicide Squad. The thing that came out in the theater was the theatrical cut, and they came and gave an extended cut to that. They had Batman v Superman. There was a theatrical cut, and then there was an extended cut of that. And now with Justice League, it looks like they will have this extended cut of Justice League as well, a longer, more flushed out cut, which, you know, many of us, and I guess you'll agree, you wonder why the studios always have these shrunken down cuts when they could just, you know, they think they're going to make more money with a shorter cut when they probably should have just left the director to do what he really wanted to do, a like flushed out cut, so that when that went into cinema, it actually probably done better.
Do you think they do that because they can make extra sales on the special edition DVD or Blu-ray or whatever it is?
No, I think because remember, you make less money in home box office. You always do.
Of course you do. Yeah, of course.
So it doesn't make sense. But the studios continuously think runtime for some reason, and they always try to shorten up the movies. And they think because it'll be the potential for it to play more in theaters in a given day will make more money. That logic constantly messes them up because they constantly get a product that the director didn't absolutely want to do. He kind of like, okay, I have to shorten this down, fine. So what you end up with is a compromise. And when you compromise movies, you kind of compromise the creativity of the movies.
Yeah.
If a movie comes out at the cut, like for instance, Man of Steel came out. Man of Steel is the highest selling DCEU film in home box office. It's $112 million they made off of revenue of DVDs and Blu-rays, which is very good. And the reason that happened was because they never really compromised what you saw in the theaters, what you see on the DVD Blu-ray. Wonder Woman has made close to $100 million in home box office sales. All right. Now, Suicide Squad is that's the aberration in the whole thing. Suicide Squad, people really love that. So it's close to $1 million as well. But the others, they're not anywhere near that. That's BVS. Even BVS, the director's cut, is not as high. And the reason being that...
Sorry, what's BBS?
Oh, Batman v Superman.
Oh, okay.
So when we say BBS, that's what we mean. So, that's okay. I know you're not really up to speed with these things. So, but we are DCEU fans. Like me, I'm a DCEU fan. R2 is a DCEU fan. We follow the DCEU since it began with Man of Steel. We like the DC. I liked the DCEU, just to give you a little background, because I found that these films were more than just fantasy and just treated the comic book characters like if it was a real situation. And I thought I enjoyed that because I'm a sci-fi nut. I love science fiction. I'm if you check me with boxing, I'm very scientific in how I go about doing things. So I'm more of a sci-fi, scientific kind of minded person. And as a result of that, I really enjoyed Man of Steel. And to be honest with you, I was not interested in Man of Steel until very late in the game when the movie was about to come out and I saw a trailer and I was like, whoa, wait, I gotta watch this thing. I am curious about this movie. And yeah.
Sorry, man. Did you grow up watching? Because I think me and you are similar age. Did you grow up watching the original Christopher Reeve movies? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw 4. No, I'm not that old. I was born in 75. So
I was born in 77.
Okay, so you were younger than me. So
only just
came out the year before Christopher Reeve's movie, unless you saw it at the age of 1.
Nah.
I saw it in the 80s, right? After it came out. But it was spectacular. I was blown away by the idea of a man, a being flying in the sky and just the special effects. And so it blew me away for a period of time. And then I outgrew it. And I was like, yeah. Because I'm all about, you remember, I'm more of a person who thinks about things as if they really would happen. And so as you look back, if I look back at Superman 1978, it has a nice magical quality to it. Again, the cinematography is responsible for that. But when I look at it, there's no realism to it at all. The movie's not, you get what I'm saying? It's not realistic. The world doesn't behave like that anymore. So for me, now you may enjoy it. Remember, it's entertainment, so it doesn't have to be realistic.
Yeah,
but for me,
fantasy, yeah.
For me, I like realism. You know, if you ask me about like movies, like I don't really watch fantasy films. I don't really do that. So I'm not really a guy who really likes fantasy for the sake of fantasy. I like but
don't you think some sci-fi is fantasy?
The thing about sci-fi, some sci-fi is, and I'm probably not interested in those sci-fi, but the sci-fi that always get me interested are sci-fis which are grounded in a reality. And not only that, but you can see the potential for our reality to become that reality. That's what's so exciting to me. And that's what gets me really going. And then I love movies which, even if they are not truly realistic, they have that reflection of who we are as humanity, and not in a superficial way, but in a deeper way. So the nice thing about Man of Steel was watching at the idea that we had never gotten a very clear picture that Superman is not a human being like us. We'd never seen that before in a very impactful way. Every time we saw a depiction of Superman, he was always sharing in our human attributes and like us, and everything seemed to be happy and gay, and he was like the epitome of what we should be. And this depiction of Superman in Man of Steel showed us clearly that he's not one of us. He's not. He's actually an alien.
Because he's a bit dark.
Man of Steel? I've thought of it as realistic, not necessarily dark. Some people think of it as dark. I don't think if you went to Man of Steel to see fantasy, if you were going to fantasize and go into this space where, you know, it's a sort of a removal from reality to go into fantastical ideals and still hold on to certain concepts which are real, like hope and so on, then you'd be disappointed and you'd call it dark. But in my sense, I thought it was brilliantly bright, because in the midst of difficulty and adversity, which Superman had from a very young age, from his very inception. You know, it's like the King Herod trying to kill Jesus story, where he's born and they're ready to take him out. You know what I'm saying? From his inception, he's facing adversity to the point where he has to choose between humanity, which he's always had. That humanity's always been kind of adverse towards him. They've always been kind of afraid of him. They've always kind of separated themselves from him. And you see it in Smallville. And just all of the physical and metaphysical elements about it, to me, just drew me in. I had to watch that movie 6 times. 6 times I watched that movie in the cinema, in IMAX. 6. That's crazy. No movie ever did me that. So it's like, I was watching it and I'm like, because I couldn't get over the fact that this dude's not human. He's not human. I couldn't get over the fact that this is what the best way to examine humanity is for somebody outside of humanity to look at it for what it is. And so that's what made that movie blow my mind. And I was like looking at us, and I'm like, damn. So we see the dark side of us, but we also see the light side of us in that same movie. And that's what I love about it. And so, you know, I just couldn't get over, Man of Steel. And I was glad he didn't call it Superman, because he wasn't Superman in that movie. He was becoming Superman. And I just find that so cool. Like that's the thing that makes it so cool about that movie. In fact, if I were to call it a movie, I'd call it Superman, because we had Jonathan Kent, who was a Superman in that movie. We had Perry White, who was a Superman in that movie. You know, you had the real human beings who really were super in that movie, did things beyond the call of it, you know, and represent ideals beyond that. And then this is what influenced Clark Kent, you know, guys like Jonathan Kent, you know, guys like Perry White, and even Lois Lane in her own way is a superwoman, because she sort of, as much as she's flawed, she's really flawed. I mean, she's super flawed in that movie. But as much as she's flawed, she held on to the ideal, the potential of the ideal that Clark represents, because Clark comes from this small town. He's a small town guy, right? And that makes him kind of pure, because small town people tend to look at the world in a straightforward sort of way, not necessarily black and white, but in a straightforward
simplistic view, yeah.
Yes. And so that's the thing that got me, and she held on to that, and she was like defending that straight throughout the movie. She did not betray him one time in that movie. A lot of people betrayed him in the movie, not Lois Lane. She kept his identity a secret throughout the movie. I thought that was pretty cool. So I mean, it's just it's one of those movies where you watch it and it's got so many different layers to it, and they keep that Kryptonian part of Clark, because we call him Clark because he was socialized as a human, but he's not a human being, right? He was socialized as a human, but he's Kryptonian, you know, and they kept that Kryptonian part of him throughout the movie. And in a way, I can understand why the Kryptonians think of him as a traitor, because here he is, you're a Kryptonian.
Yeah, because he's gone against his own kind in a way. The philosophy, the thinking. I mean, the way I think about it is, and this is probably not quite accurate, but if you like animals, and let's say you keep dogs, and then you decide you have a puppy, and then you get a kitten, and the kitten is surrounded by dogs, that kitten will take on the characteristics thinking that it's a dog.
Right.
When it's not, it's a cat.
Right.
That's a good metaphor.
Yeah, and then the kitten goes chasing down other kittens, other cats,
or chasing cars
down other cars, barking behind them. It's just weird, but he won't go roof roof. He might go wow wow. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's chasing down other cats like himself, and he doesn't realize that these are animals like himself. And I think that's something that it's good and it's evil at the same time, because depending on how you're socialized, sometimes you don't see yourself for what you really are. And I think with Clark, that's the problem with him. The problem with Clark was he grew up as an Earthling. He grew up as a person of Earth, not a human, but a person of Earth with human values. And he decided the guy who's not even human, he so wants to be a human, he embraces everything that's human. Like, and I feel like he's, in a way, Clark kind of overcompensates for the fact that he is not accepted amongst human beings. It's almost like he's this beacon of light for humanity, and he's almost forgotten his Kryptonian heritage, kind of like that. Even when Jor-El's speaking to him. Yeah,
but also as well, it's not as if he can fly off to Krypton, because it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, but he had Kryptonians around.
So the only thing he can ground himself in is the environment that he's in.
True, but here's the thing. You see, this, and these are the kinds of discussions we get because it's just what it is. The movie's that crazy. The thing about it is that he ends up having the opportunity to interface with other Kryptonians, right? And that was he met General Zod. He met all the Kryptonians, right? Now, his thing was trust. And remember, he's been socialized as an Earthling. Now, the thing that gives it away, why we can't say General Zod had a point, was that Jor-El, General Zod's own fellow planetarian, if you want to call it that, or fellow whatever, civilian of their planet, he has an ideal that's more.
Oh, you still there?
Bad connection, maybe. Hey, hands on it. You can see and hear us.
Oh, halfway through a point as well.
That's annoying. YouTube is on.
His internet may have gone down.
Yeah, something what happened. That stream is still going on YouTube, but it's gone to the profile photo of the whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, his point was probably something about what was he talking about?
Hey, back.
What? The chat works. Have left the group chat.
Oh dear. Maybe I think his connection's probably gone down. I think he's trying to connect.
Probably.
Mm. So you prefer DC to Marvel?
He's coming back now. What?
You prefer DC to
you
Marvel?
guys see me again?
It's yeah, we see you again. Yeah.
Okay,
my DC Marvel relationship is something like that. balance that I've been trying to hold. Something like yeah. Yeah, mostly that I have been is somewhat balanced. It's pretty biased on the DC side, but I have been trying to look somehow on the Marvel side as well. But some people on the other side of that fandom are not really hospitable against the those people who are DC fans. I have some Marvel comics in that part, like Justice League and Avengers comic book. This came out back in 2006, 2004, some for. It's actually a rare proof or a piece of evidence that there was a time when DC and Marvel could work together.
Oh yeah, they did a lot. That's true. And I got to tell you, I love X-Men, so I'm an X-Men.
Yeah, I love X-Men as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to New Mutants. I don't want to see Black Phoenix. That's cool. I'm not interested in what's that movie with the spider looking thing? Oh shoot, I can't believe I forgot the name. That's coming out with the guy from oh wow, I'm just drawing blanks. I'll tell you, Venom's coming out. Venom, yeah.
Yeah, that's the big.
Well, he's not really the bad Spider-Man. Venom is a sort of, I don't know how to explain it. But it's kind of cool.
Is that you guys know so much more about the comics than I do. I just know the movies.
I'm glad you're here, though. I'm glad you're here. But I'm not really into Venom right now. That maybe it will wow me. Like I said, I wasn't into Man of Steel, but I'm into not Black Mutants. New Mutants. I want to see that bad. New Mutants. I want to see that bad. And if you ever have cable, if you have FX, you should really check out. Oh my God, the name slipped me as well. The one with the mutants as well. It's a
Legion.
Real cool. What is it called?
Legion.
No, not Legion. Legion is.
Oh.
I haven't really gotten into Legion. Legion's a little bit crazy because the dude's insane. He's a little bit insane, but the other one on FX, I forgot what it's called. I can't believe it. It's really good, man. With these young mutants, what happened was this guy, he used to track down mutants, and actually they used to catch them. And it ends up his own kids turn out to be mutants. So he has to go and protect them.
What's it called? Plot. I don't know, but that plot sounds pretty recycled.
Yeah, it sounds like Heroes.
I forgot what the name of it is. It's good. It's good because they have to band together with other mutants. And what happens is, the thing about it is, yeah, we always knew the world was adverse to mutants, right? Since X-Men way back when. But the fun part about this is the actual, we don't know if the parents are mutants. Let's put it that way. We don't know if the parents are mutants. Right? Yeah,
but the parents may not be mutants, but they'd carry the dormant gene.
Right.
Yeah.
So
if a mutant has kids that aren't mutants, then the kids are mostly like the carriers, like baldness gene or some other gene, or
right,
inheritary diseases or something else.
Right. But the thing about it is, because I think we're going into the second season. They started last year. And the thing about it is, the movies, the television series is much more. It was 13 episodes, right? The television series is a little bit more than just that. There are other mutants out there, and it's not just about hunting down mutants. It's about a bunch of other things that go on in the movie that have to do with social issues and all of that stuff. So that's what makes it kind of interesting for me. And so I just kind of gave you like the bare bone synopsis of the thing. It gets very interesting as you move along. So I just find it something that roped me in. I still haven't seen the whole season though, but that's the one I like. Legion is more about a very powerful mutant who doesn't know he's a mutant, and then he's a little bit insane at the same time. So we see it from his perspective, his mind, how things are going, and because his mind is that way, the reality is actually shaped by his mind as well, which makes it even more crazy. When he goes to a happy place, though, it's really It's out there, man.
I just googled X-Men TV show to 2017. Is it The Gifted?
They're gifted. Yes, that's it. That's sick, man. I'm telling you, man. It's sick because they show you both the gift, the curse, and just a whole bunch of things. And again, it kind of reminds me of Man of Steel in some respects. I mean, or X-Men Apocalypse in a way, because it's like these young mutants, they're evolving into something. So because of that evolution, as they go along, you get to learn more about them. But they're not dealing with them as mutants, but more as people, and their feeling, their perspective on being oppressed and that kind of stuff. So since they're taking it from a personal perspective, it's intriguing to me. They're not even calling them. They don't really mention the word mutant much. Also in the series, which is good. So but yeah, when it comes to comic book movies and stuff, I'm a sci-fi more kind of guy who tries to look for things which have explanations. Fantasy and sort of suspension of belief is fun. I'm cool with that to some degree, but I can't take it for very long. I just can't. It's too much for me. Especially if things are not making any sense at all. The only thing though, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I could actually watch that a couple times because I know
I've watched that loads of times.
It makes no sense whatsoever, and they're telling you just like from the jump, this makes no sense. So I'm cool with that. But it's when you have these other premises and you try to piece together something and it makes no sense, but they kind of, it is what it is. I can't handle it. Yeah. So that's basically it though. But what do you think about well, since you don't really know much about the DCEU, I guess R2, if you want to say a couple things about what maybe he might be interested in seeing. I don't know what kind of movies you mainly looked at, big blockbusters, the MCU, and maybe Fox have given out, like Deadpool. What do you think of Deadpool 2? Have you seen it?
Sorry, which one?
Tommy?
I haven't actually had time yet to go to the movies for some time now. Or I probably would have but it's something I actually got something on about. I saw some of, I don't know if it's called like those spoilers, but some things about how the plot works in the beginnings of the Deadpool. That there were some things that I said that something happens and people were upset about it, and when I look at it, I knew this was going to happen ever since the first thing came out.
Okay. What do you think, Tommy, about Deadpool? Have you seen it, Deadpool 2?
Yeah. I love Deadpool, but to me, it's kind of like a naughty sort of pleasure.
Right.
Because
it basically pokes fun at the stuff.
So many things wrong with that, but it's kind of like you shouldn't laugh, but you laugh anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very good entertainment.
Yeah, I had what's up with it in the second one. I went to see the first one. My experience with Deadpool for the first movie was something like that. The first time I saw it, it was funny. Then for the second time I went to see, I tried to watch with a friend who hadn't seen it yet, right. And for some reason his reaction to it was something of a, well, he didn't try to take it too seriously. He was kind of passive about that, and for some reason when I watched it again, that knowing the jokes and other things like that Deadpool was for some reason like a movie that you can watch once, laugh at it, but then it's the same jokes again at the same time and the second viewing, and it took something out of it. It's pretty much like when there was the Deadpool video game that came out a couple of years ago. And it's pretty much the same thing with that. You play it through once you laugh at the jokes that come across it, and there's pretty much no replay value of it when it's the same thing over and over again.
Right. For me, I didn't even watch Deadpool, the first one. because I know what I like and what's funny for me. And I know Deadpool was just not my cup of tea. I used to like those kinds of movies, Naked Gun 2.5, that kind of stuff. But I'm not really into that stuff anymore. So
yeah,
again,
that was actually something that if I could compare the superhero movies like cop movies,
right.
we can say that Deadpool was pretty much the Naked Gun, and somewhere between DCEU and MCU, there you could put like the lethal weapons.
Yeah, because it's rated R. Yeah,
I kind of see like Deadpool as the South Park of the Marvel universe, if that makes sense.
Actually, he's an X-Men. Did you know that Deadpool is an X-Men?
Yes, I did know that, but yeah, because he was in that one of the Wolverine movies.
Right, exactly. They messed him up.
He had the same name.
They messed him up in that one.
Yeah. They killed him in that one.
Yeah. He should have had a mouth in that one because he's a merc with a mouth.
You'd be the perfect soldier, Wayne, if it wasn't for that mouth.
Yeah, it was something of. I remember. I don't remember if I saw or it was in the X-Men Origins Wolverine where they had Ryan Reynolds as that proto Deadpool, and there was something about that movie had multiple different post-credit scenes that were shown in different theaters. That was before the MCU started picked up the whole post-credits thing. And there should have been something like that proto Deadpool trying to read for the cut off head. And then made the severed head has somehow made the mouth cut open somehow or something. I haven't seen it, but I have read reports and something other confirmation about it. It's not a rumor. It's supposed to be a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad for Ryan Reynolds and what they're doing with Deadpool, but that's just I know that ain't my kind of movie. But it doesn't mean that it isn't funny to some people. It's just I know it wouldn't. I'd be like
it's personal taste. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's more. I think Smack and they take a lot of risks. Let's put it that way to get the funny.
Yeah, but imagine you were still in your 30s and you had your friends coming around. You had a few drinks. That
right.
I like to think that would go down reasonably well.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't disagree. I'm just different, I guess, to some other people. I think that's the thing with me. No, the average person who's adult would find fun in what he's doing per se. I think so. It's all right, I guess. Just not my cup. But I know I was to ask. Let me ask all of you guys since we kind of have a broader audience here. Before I go into some of the other DCU films, what do you think of the film Black Panther? Those of you who saw it in different views. I like to hear people's different views on things. We don't have to agree on nothing.
To be honest, I haven't seen all of it yet. I've seen about half of it.
Okay. What do you think about how do you find as it progressed? Let's start with the beginning. What did you think? Did you roll your eyes in the beginning?
No.
As it progressed, we're like, okay, I can kind of see what's going on here. What do you think?
Well, the thing, I like to think a lot of the movies in the Marvel universe, they take certain liberties, and you accept that.
Right.
Basically, what was it? The Astra came in. What was the metal called?
Vibranium.
Oh, vibranium.
Yeah, the strong. Yes. I like that, but I don't even think that metal exists, does it? It's not real.
No, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't.
If they said it was some sort of palladium, that would have been more realistic, I think.
Okay.
That's something actually I thought about, but I don't know if it's real. But when Marvel had to cut, had lost the right movie rights to X-Men, and they had something about that. I wonder if adamantium and vibranium were the same metal at some point before the movie rights forced them to break them into two different separate metals.
That's a very interesting question. They're both, by the way, adamantium and vibranium don't exist. Okay, as far as we know.
They're fictional metals. But if they were metals in the Marvel universe, in the comic universe, in which the X-Men and the Avengers coexist. Was it this? It a same very hard, durable and rare metal, or and when they couldn't use the same metal anymore, then they were forced into creating another metal that they could use in the MCU because they couldn't use adamantium in creating Captain America's shield.
Interesting, very interesting question. And maybe it's called a different name in a different part of the world, but probably it's the same metal. That's an interesting question. And again, I do understand the fantasy element that you're talking about, Tommy, about vibranium being this mythical metal. The cool thing about it, though, is just like how Atlantis is a sort of a fantastical city. There is a myth around Atlantis, for example. So similarly, I wouldn't be surprised that there's a myth somewhere around, maybe not adamantium, but maybe vibranium, and that maybe, who knows, maybe that thing does exist. We don't know, So that I don't know, but to me, science fiction is a thing where once you explain it pretty well, I can kind of follow it. But I do agree with you that yes, there's no vibranium. It doesn't exist as far as we know.
My take on this is because, bear in mind, I don't come at this from a comic point of view. I come at it from a movie point of view. Is you've got two competing sides, Marvel and what's the other, DC, right? So they have their different versions of things, but they are technically they're equivalent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You've got vibranium, and then you've got adamantium. And then you've
adamantium
got Superman, and then you've got Captain Marvel.
Oh, you still got adamantium is also Marvel. That's with the Wolverine. So there's a both.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's still Marvel.
DC does have some of their own fictional metals as well.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah. I get you now, because that's in the
X-Men, yeah.
Avengers.
Wolverine. Yeah.
But vibranium's also in the Avengers.
Yes, vibranium was. We first heard about vibranium with Captain America, the first Avenger. In that movie, Tony Stark's father makes
shield.
Yes, he makes a shield out of vibranium, and then the story progresses on. Now we find out where vibranium actually comes from, or at least where they got the vibranium from, which is in Wakanda, which is again a mythical, myth.
God damn it, not again. Not again. It's still according to this thing.
Be back.
Yeah. What I was talking about that the vibranium meteor struck down the Wakanda, and they got that metal from that. Actually, there's something I actually have realized recently, something that could be seen as a plot hole or something that they didn't actually use. The Black Panther's sister Shuri, who they have, they call their scientific leader or so. I don't think she was alive or even born in the first scene of the movie, which took place in Oakland, and they don't actually even mention who was the leading scientific leader before her. Did you notice something like that?
No, but I think the reason they might do that is because they can have a spin-off movie, or maybe a spin-off series,
or something, or an inside comic, or something like that. But it's that everything, all the technological advancements that in that movie were credited to Shuri, and including the ones that must have been created before she was born.
Yes, because he wasn't the first Black Panther.
She was in the first Black Panther. What I meant was that the first scene, the second scene in the movie, which showed Oakland, Black Panther's father, T'Challa's father, and T'Challa's uncle, the Killmonger's father, and Forrest Whitaker, a young Forrest Whitaker, when they were in Oakland. they showed they came on a flying ship, and the flying ships, they did credit who created or invented the flying ships for Wakandans, because and like I said, Shuri is too young to have been alive at that point to be invent those, or she would have, she would, and even if she was alive, she would not have been at an age that she would have been doing schematics for those kind of planes or other things.
Yeah, I don't see how a metal can advance civilization that much, even if it's a special metal, over such a short period of time.
Mm. Yeah. You know,
do you remember when the ship come in at the beginning?
Yeah, it came up of the clouds. You could see the lights, and it landed on the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something.
That ship looked like it had anti-gravity properties.
Welcome back, Anson.
Welcome back. Thank you. I just love my signal. Just went with the internet. So how's everything going? Let me just talk a little bit more about the DCU really quickly, and then we can talk about all kinds of other things. With the DCU, we were talking about Shazam. That Shazam's coming out, and also Aquaman, and they gave a poster with Aquaman and his new outfit. And for those of you who don't know who Aquaman is basically a character that lives under the ocean in a place supposedly known as Atlantis.
Yeah,
and,
or our house
exactly.
Is that the same guy that was in Smallville?
There was an Aquaman.
Remember the guy who could swim really fast?
Yeah.
Yes.
The same actor is going to play a Hawk in the Titans show.
Right. It's not the same actor, but yes, that's the same.
It's the same actor from Smallville. They had Owen Richardson who played that version of Aquaman in Smallville. He's going to be playing Hawk. Hank Hall, superhero named Hank Hall, also known as Hawk from Hawk and Dove superhero or duo in the new upcoming Titans show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. See, I didn't even know that. But yeah, Aquaman.
Let me just ask a random question.
Yeah.
Do you think that the investment for the DC is not there like it is for the Marvel in terms of the movies?
Depends on
what do you mean?
Like the budgets. Just I know you explained what happened with the Justice League, but I still don't think with three characters that would have been enough to make it on par with Avengers, the first Avengers.
Some of the characters in the Avengers didn't have their own original movies.
They had. Say again?
All the ones I had were Thor and the Captain America and Iron Man. Hulk's movie was pretty much ignored, and it might as well not have happened at all. Black Widow didn't have her own movie, even if she was a supporting character in Iron Man 2, and Hawkeye just had a cameo in Thor.
Oh, is R2 gone down again?
And something like that. Yeah. That's just.
Oh, he's back. Nope.
Yep. Yeah, no. This is annoying.
Oh, back again?
This is annoying.
Oh.
Okay, now he left, and let's start a timer and how long it takes for him to try to come back.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I my dinner's ready. I need to check out, so I will. Hopefully, I'll be back at some point next time you guys are chatting.
Yeah, I need to leave back at some point as well. It's already 11 p.m. and I need to, and I'm starting work tomorrow. Wake up for that.
All right. Anyway, nice talking to you, and I hope this. Take care.
I'll see if Anton comes back. I'm the only one still here. Other viewers, do you have any comments that I would like me to say? Also, who else is here? Cyan Blue, you're still here. 5 viewers. Who else is here besides me? Say something.
Wow, that's crazy. Hello?
Yeah, Tommy left.
What happened?
He left. He had something about something that he needed to check out, and he said he'd like to join some in other streams as well.
Man, he was cool, man. It was nice having him.
Yeah, it was. By the way, on one time, on the previous time you were forced to leave, we spoke about a plot hole about Shuri that I noticed in Black Panther. And did you notice that Shuri, who was said to be, let's say, she was referred as a child by Winston Duke's character, and right. She was still leading in technologically. The technological chief they had in Wakanda.
Yep.
But the Oakland scene in the beginning of the movie, that scene was supposed to take place in the late 80s or early 90s. Shuri could not have been alive or even born by that point. So who was the main technological whiz before her? They never mentioned who her predecessor was. Who invented the flying ships? Because of the whole, and then there was and then they had the trains vibranium, and Shuri credited herself on that. She could not have been alive when they started building those.
That's true. That's true. There's a lot of questions with Wakanda's, and like I said, for me, the movie began iffy. Let's just put it that way. But yeah. like Tommy was saying, they take certain liberties with their stuff. He was asking a very interesting question about the investment into the DCEU. Do you think that more people are interested in the DCU as versus to the MCU? And clearly, more people are interested in the MCU, and generally the MCU is in people's eyes because it's been out there for a while. So I would expect people to have a lot more people to know about the MCU, even if they don't know much about comic books. They would know, and they would be talking about Marvel because Marvel is the thing these days. So it's not a problem. But with me, I'm interested in the DCU for a totally different reason, which has to do with just the fact that it's not so fantastical, you know. And again, I'm not talking about mythical places per se, because Themyscira doesn't exist, right? Atlantis doesn't exist. I mean, there's a lot of things that don't exist. I think I was talking in terms of just how how things are explained, and in a scientific sort of way, where there are actually things like that exist, so, or are going to exist. So that's the thing that science fiction kind of poses. But yeah, I know about, there's a lot of things I could critique Black Panther on. This is why I wanted to hear your perspective and his perspective on those movies, because he said he just only watched half the movie, which tells me that he wasn't as interested in watching the entire thing. So I was curious to hear what he had to say about that. And you're just bringing up some other points, which if you really critically analyze Black Panther like that, it falls apart. But what I'm talking about is, like, if you look at, say, for instance, it in terms of what it's bringing to the table, the context and that kind of stuff, you know, you know, the content of it, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I think it's a magnificent movie in that respect, you know, and much more grounded than most MCU movies, in my opinion, just in my opinion. But going back to what I was going to say about the DCEU, I was surprised. You said something also about, before even we get it, the last video, we were talking about Cyborg. I think you left some comments about Cyborg on those things.
Yeah, about that, how you had the 2 images of how Victor was on the table that folded up as a wall as well. That pretty much how the footage in Batman v Superman showed how Victor, one of his limbs were gone, and that and the other showed that some mechanical limbs and some other was. that was something I thought at the moment about the CGI or lack of CGI, or actually now with a new hindsight, it could be that those were his limbs that were growing back cybernetically from also, but that doesn't explain that right arm, which was
exactly. So what I was saying is that you're thinking of it as post Cyborg's birth. You're seeing that image, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it could be that.
I'm saying
that could also be.
I'm saying that's pre-Cyborg's birth.
Yeah.
So
or
what I'm saying.
There's also about something in the Rebirth comics. You read the Cyborg's comic on Rebirth, that there was some point in his advancements that his flesh had started to grow back, or some artificial kind of flesh.
Right, but we know that his flesh, not his flesh, but the appearance of his flesh, that he synthesized something that looks like his flesh, like human flesh. We know that didn't happen because when we see Cyborg in the movie, he doesn't have that appearance.
Yeah.
Remember? So he's not capable of doing that at the present moment, which means that video that you saw could not have been post Cyborg being born, but it's actually before. And it's really scary. It's a scary thought thinking that Victor Stone really underwent a horrific ordeal where he lost his limbs. His father actually was doing crap and failing all the time till he had this shell of Cyborg where less than a torso, he had a heart beating, maybe some brain activity, some neuronal activity, but basically a dead corpse is what you were watching at. And only the mother box bailed him out on the last moment, and Cyborg came to be born, which is why the majority of Cyborg in the movie is machine. And because Cyborg is majority, he's like RoboCop. He's a machine with a brain and a heart, but this machine happens to be alien.
Yeah. Remember in New 52, there was the Justice League arc, Villain's Journey.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. there was that point when they were tracking that an original villain created for that arc, who had been a survivor of the first arc, when they were fighting. He led the Justice League to something, the Valley of Souls, and there were some what should you call them, raids or some kind of ghosts that took place, that took the form of some of their like Superman's birth parents, Hal Jordan's father, and for Wonder Woman it had Hippolyta. Batman saw his parents, and in the Cyborg's case, he saw Victor Stone, and something like that, and some kind of projection of Victor as a wraith that accused Cyborg that Victor is really dead, and he is just a program that believes and thinks he is Victor Stone.
Correct. Now you get it.
Because but actually scratch that. And Wonder Woman didn't see Hippolyta. She saw Steve Trevor, and when the real Steve Trevor showed up, in the comics continuity, Steve Trevor was still alive. When real Steve Trevor showed up, and they saw that through the Wraith Steve Trevor, they realized that the Wraiths were not the real things, and
there you go.
That was one of those.
It was one of those sort of stories which kind of give you the difference between the illusion and reality, but yet telling you kind of what these characters really are, in a way, in my opinion, what you just said. And I think that's the thing with Cyborg. This is why, in what I was just showing, I was examining that. I was thinking about what you had commented on, about special effects and stuff. And I was saying, it's not just, I didn't think it was just about special effects. I thought it was that basically they are showing you, when you first see Cyborg there, what you were introduced in BVS, Wonder Woman actually saw that in the movie. As you could see on the screen, she's actually watching Cyborg get birthed, right? And then she opens up the Victor Stone file, because it was Silas Stone file that she was in. She opened up the Victor Stone file of that, And now we're seeing how Victor Stone, how he ended up being Cyborg. So even though there was this terrible accident that happened, Victor Stone, while he may have been unconscious or whatever, his father was working on him putting on cybernetic joints. And apparently he was failing at doing that. Victor was still dying. Whatever it was, whatever that accident was, we don't know what the accident was. But Victor, you could see his chest was normal. He had a normal hand. So he was normal. He at least had a chest and a hand, right? And he had a neck and a head. Apparently, his father did not help his situation, and he was deteriorating. Even though he put on limbs on him, he was deteriorating. Apparently, Victor was in a lot of pain. I don't know what happened, but in the end, he ends up being this almost this corpse in which there's this machine pump making his heart beat, and he's basically a torso, not even a full torso, right?
Yeah,
and
that's pretty much how much of human flesh that's big.
Yeah, the dude destroyed him. I think he practically killed him, and he practically was dead, if by all accounts and purposes. Just kind of maintained the basic metabolic rate, basic sort of brain activity, so the brain could come back. And I think the mother box brought him back to life, and that's why Victor probably doesn't even consider himself Victor Stone anymore. He's something, but what is he? We don't know, because everything that defines you as human, everything that defines you as a person, is gone from him. You know, and so that's, I think it's very much layered. So it's not just psychological damage to him, but I think it's literally a complete what am I? He's saying, you know, what am I?
And when he faced up and his meeting with Diana in Justice League could have been pretty much, to quote Adam Jensen from Deus Ex Human Revolution, "You never asked for this."
Exactly. That's why he didn't call them gifts. He was looking at her like, gifts? You call this gifts? Why am I paying for them? You know?
Yeah, it's pretty much something like that. You know, Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Right.
Yeah, that video game is pretty much like where you play a security officer for a billion-dollar company. That company gets attacked. Their leading augmentation scientist is kidnapped, presumably dead, and the security officer in charge, Adam Jensen, he gets rebuilt as a
cyborg.
Yeah, something like that. I should have that game over here somewhere.
It kind of has the Ex Machina kind of concept to it, in that it's saying what it is to be alive. And a cyborg kind of is a sentient being, but is he really human? No, he was human, but he's not human really, like we all dispute. And I think, but he ties into humanity. He still thinks he has feelings. He has concerns for people. He has emotions, whether that's a simulation of the machine in him, the programming in him. This is what he has. So we say that he's half man, half machine, but he's not really half man, you know? And so that's what I was trying to emphasize in that. That was one of the layers. There's many, many layers to, you know, Victor Stone being dead. But Diana, what Diana did was she was like resisting that, because Diana also is not human. Superman's not human. Because Diana is not human, she can relate with Victor in a non-human sort of desire to be human sort of way, showing the universal attributes and qualities that are shared, human beings share, but it's beyond just humans. Other people, other beings, other sentient beings share these things.
Something like that. The Deus Ex series and the Human Revolution game, and it showed, for example, when you played as Jensen, and there was also the dispute at that about the cyborgs and people who have augmented limbs and so on, and if they are still humans or if they are robots pretending to be humans. Yeah. That's one of those things. You should look up that. Then I think there's a YouTube channel that makes music about it. One of the songs he made crediting that video game was "Natural Heart." The chorus goes something like, "We must go back before this isn't human anymore," and something like those kind of themes that And is it humans, well, human to be like that, and something like that. And another song was Deep New Black Gold.
I think that this discussion has been said a number of times in a number of different things. Like in the Matrix, you see these programs talking about qualities like love and stuff. We've seen it also in a number of films actually, where it's always about what it is to be human. Ex Machina, etc., etc. Star Trek with Data, and so on and so on. So it's just an examination of the human psyche that is continually addressed in different ways and different formats. And in the case of Cyborg, he's very layered in his problems and in the complexities, because he's not just, you remember, it's not just that he lost his career and the things he admired and things he was strong in as an athlete, but he also lost his mother. And that's part of kind of what defines him, what kind of grounds him. And in short, the very thing that would ground him to humanity was the very thing that repulsed him, because his father basically kind of has sketchy morals. He does, his morals are all over the place. His father is talking about losing him, so he goes to the lengths of torturing him and killing him pretty much, and then he's revived, all in the interest of science, and it's he's not even attached to that guy, so he's kind of out there floating around until Wonder Woman, who's not human, kind of shows him that you're blessed in a way not to be human, because in a way you're able to now look at humanity and find the best in it. And she kind of connects him back to humanity by grounding him to his lost mother, which was kind of like the only link he had to humanity, because she was the only one that cared. So he lost the only one that cared for him and stuff. Again, the Snyder Cut hopefully will show us more of this and flush this out more. But you can
probably feel does, and hopefully it will also bring out that, not just about this character moment and so on, because as we probably have already discussed, that the Justice League was supposed to be long enough, and it should have had small, or not very long, but important and significant moments that could have, and that would have made solo movies obsolete. That introduce, show who they are, and how they are like this. This. Before Marvel, there were heroes who didn't need solo movies and so on and so on.
I didn't have a problem with solo movies per se, but I thought DC was going a different route. I think like you said, and I think even Tommy even brought up this point, that I think in trying to get such a succinct set of films and to be able to get them playing multiple times in the theater, Warner Brothers lost sight of the overall vision that Zack Snyder, Deborah Snyder, and the original crew started out with. And so what you ended up with, just because Man of Steel didn't turn out exactly the way they planned it to turn out, I think they should have stayed with Zack's vision fully and let him flush out everything, because Zack's so detailed in what he does, it would take years for people to really unpack these movies fully. It takes years. I mean, people are still talking about BVS, and that's because the thing's rich with all kinds of stuff in it. And so I think with these are long-lasting legacy kind of movies. Let the guy do his thing, launch out the DCU really well. So now when you really put directors like the guys who do Shazam and the guys who are, James Wan doing the Aquaman, and Jason Wan's a very detailed person himself, they have a great platform to launch off on. So that's why it's very integral, I think. And if they can do it before Aquaman, great. But we don't want it to take away from Aquaman's thunder, but it could build up some enthusiasm for Aquaman if they could get Justice League out before Aquaman. But if they can't, well, somewhere between Aquaman and Shazam, you put it out, or after Shazam, whatever, and get it out there and let people see it, because I think that Zack Snyder's vision is kind of integral to this universe moving forward. And if they haven't realized that by now, it was a launching pad. Yes, Zack's supposed to set the ship sailing and then other directors to take over. No problem with that. But you have to understand that Zack did something very special. And that's why I think that his cut must come out of Justice League. I think so, because I'm unpacking a lot of stuff from Justice League. And
Yeah, yeah, and also the fact that Zach had the 5-movie plan that Jay Oliver has been saying on Twitter to have planned out. If he wasn't going to get the Justice League Part 2 and was going to try to make it into one movie before it was taken away from him, the Snyder Cut could still be like his passing of the torch to those other directors. You said.
I don't think though they were going to do 2 a while back. So
there was the original split that they said they were going to make back in 2014.
Right, exactly. That's way back then. So the cut that he made wasn't really going to.
No, but in retrospect, it might as well have been when he was told that Justice League wasn't going to be 2 movies anymore.
I don't think it was going to be 2 movies since, like you said, 2000. Wait.
2014 was when they announced those things.
Right, the 2 things.
Including the Flash movie that should have come out this spring.
Right, but when I don't know if it was before BVS or after BVS.
It was before.
What I mean to say is no. What I mean to say is the scrapping of the 2 parts. I think that happened. I'm not too sure if it happened after BVS or if it happened before BVS, where they were going to have just 1 part. But what I do know is that pretty early in the game, before they started shooting, there was agreed it was going to just be 1 part. It wasn't going to be part 1, part 2. It was just going to be Justice League. I think the name Justice League came after. The name Justice League came after Batman v Superman. They were thinking of Justice League Gods Among Us or something like that. And then I remember Jeff.
Yeah, that I do remember.
Yeah, and I think they just agreed on Justice League. So early in, before they even started shooting anything, early in the game, they had already had it down as just 1 movie, which would have been Justice League. They were going to go the route of what they did or what happened with The Matrix, where they were going to shoot both movies, Justice League Part 1 and Part 2, and they would have called it whatever. They would have shot them both together. But they changed their minds on that. And it's a good thing they did, because Wonder Woman had to be shot, remember? And Justice League was shot before, was it? No, Justice League, yeah. Wonder Woman was shot while Justice League was going on, or was Batman v Superman? I think Wonder Woman was being shot while Batman v Superman.
I think the principal photography for Justice League, they got finished with it back in November of 2015. No, 2016. I remember that.
Yeah, they shot it.
There was that.
They shot it after.
Jason Momoa had the body shot with him, like this with Ben Affleck, that they were done filming back in Iceland.
I'm trying to remember though. Wonder Woman wasn't shot with Justice League. Couldn't be, because
it was probably before and after. Okay. I do remember they had the
Wonder Woman was being shot with Batman v Superman.
I remember the wrap-up image photos that they posted on social media. There was the whole big group photo of Gal Gadot, Patty Jenkins, and Chris Pine, and a whole lot of people are standing behind them, looking up where the camera.
Right. When was that?
That was probably sometime in 2016.
Okay, so they did shoot it with Justice League. That's crazy.
Or before, or sometime. It was. I don't recall if it was before or after Suicide Squad came out.
It was before. It was before Justice League.
Yeah.
So that means because remember, okay, so it probably was before, and then Zach started shooting, but Zach was there. Remember, Zach was there when Wonder Woman started shooting. So
yeah, to have his cameo in the photo.
Because what Gal said was she came off of Wonder Woman and then she went into Justice League right after. So that means it had to have been shot before Justice League. It's just that we didn't know that Wonder Woman was shooting. So after Gal was finished shooting in 2015, I think, after she was finished shooting Justice League in 2015, in the beginning of 2016, she was shooting Wonder Woman with Patty Jenkins. That's what. And then later on in 2016, after Batman v Superman, Zack Snyder and they started shooting Justice League somewhere in June or August of 2016. They started shooting. So
and they were done by November.
Right. It was only about 3 months, which is pretty good.
Yeah. And then there was a post production they started doing.
Right.
Then his daughter died, and then they got the
man. Why did she have to die? Well, it is what it is. What can you say? Anyway, at the end of the day, we got Justice League. It was, of course, not what everybody was hyped to see in the what do you call that thing? The sneak peek. That sneak peek blew me away, man. I was hyped like crazy. Then when I saw the next trailer, which was the Heroes trailer, I was like, yeah, but it's not as good.
That Heroes trailer was pretty underwhelming.
Yeah, that's what. But Whedon and they started taking it over from there. So it was like, and the color coding and everything. But they still had the ring. You remember the ring incident with the ring when he said, the ring. He said that to Louis Lane. So we was like, hey, what is this ring thing? Is he going to marry her? You remember that? You remember all that?
That I do remember.
Yeah, man. We didn't get none of that in we didn't get none of that in this cut. But it's all good. You know, I'm not mad. I am going to see Zack Snyder cut anyway, so we'll get it. You know what I mean? I just wish we had gotten it in the theater, but it is what it is, circumstances and stuff like that. So I'm cool. I'm cool with it. I know Whedon did his thing. He put in his stuff. People hating on Whedon for it. The only thing I did not like, and I still maintain I don't like, was when the Flash fell into Wonder Woman's chest and wriggled up in it, and then he jumped off. Yeah, he tried to show respect, but Whedon made him wriggle up in there. He shouldn't have done that. And Wonder Woman sure would have kicked his ass. She would have kicked his ass. I'm just saying. Or she would have done him something because he did that. I just feel like
the thing. Also, some Twitter man said they said that Wonder Woman was going to be like a mother to Barry, and then.
Well, she was kind of like she didn't have much to do with Barry. She had nothing to do with Barry, really.
I
think Bruce Wayne had more to do with Barry than she did.
Yeah, but if the movie had gone to be as long as it was supposed to be, the relationship between Diana and Barry would have been like a mother and son kind of.
Sort of like a sister brother, I think. That's what they did.
It's something.
But she hardly had anything to do with him in the movie, I realized. And true to form, Cyborg didn't get as much screen. There was more stories to Cyborg than they had, and then of course Aquaman had more story, and so on and so on and so on. So it's just that we got a really abridged version that we trimmed down, that Warner Bros. Kind of trimmed down, and so we're looking forward to the full version that Zack Snyder will have. No time restrictions, nothing. I'd be loving that. I hope they get that CGI and everything on point with Steppenwolf and everybody, and Superman, Henry Cavill's face and everything. So once they get that on point, I'm cool. I mean, let me tell you, I love the present cut of Justice League. Let me just be clear with you. I love it for what it is. You get what I'm saying? I love it for what it is. All right?
Yeah,
and I will cherish it.
You say that it's all right, but it's not all great.
I will cherish that cut because for the first time we had a collaboration between DC and Marvel. Say what people want. It was a collaboration between DC and Marvel, and a Marvel director, and Joss Whedon, he came across the aisle, with Danny Elfman, who had also composed for both Marvel and DC. And to me, it's something special in that Marvel and DC can work together, and that's what I remember it for. I love it a lot for. And I don't think they compromised too much of what Zack was doing. They did compromise a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it wasn't Thor Ragnarok. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't a mockery of the heroes, in my opinion. It wasn't a mockery of the heroes. And so they treated the heroes with some respect. So I was cool with it, except for that flash in Wonder Woman's bosom moment, which I really particularly did not like. But other than that, I thought they treated the heroes with some respect. Yes, a lot of the execution of certain things felt clunky and very Disney-like in certain respects. And the music sometimes really annoyed the crap out of me. But again, I saw the brilliance in the music as well. And I saw how brilliant Danny Elfman was with certain things. So, to me, that's true. I call it solid, flawed in the sense that advertised as it didn't come out as.
Talking about Danny Elfman. Okay, finish up. You can finish.
I'm done.
Oh, okay. the Danny Elfman score, that's something that's actually have struck to me, something like that. The Danny Elfman score and mostly his Batman score, like when Justice League came out, he said something in some interviews that he saw that his score of Batman is the only one they can use. But in the movie, it was pretty mellow and something like that. And when Smallville was still coming, and I was hoping to get some kind of Batman cameo appearance in there, I envisioned the Danny Elfman's Batman score, how it would have been there, but it would have been updated or some like remixed, something like that. That when there's the part that it could have also been like dum 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 dum, like something like that, and not like something that updated and something keeps it refreshed and something that.
Well, I agree with you. I expected him to do some sort of variation of the Batman theme as Junkie XL did.
Something that would have come by. Like, for comparison, when I first saw the trailers for Force Awakens, my first thought about the Star Wars music at the time was that it had aged well, aged well at that point, and it was, but it was still kept like fresh and new. And it wasn't like back then, but it had some familiar elements, but something that didn't make it sound like too old. And it had aged well, something like that.
Because they again revised it, but the Batman theme's always been there, but they've done variations of the Batman theme. He just took the straight Batman theme and put it in there. Yeah. I saw that as well. I was like, what? I was like, okay, I get it. It's kind of a kiddies kind of flick thing going on there.
Sharp Ears actually have claimed that Elfman put some Avengers themes in there too.
Oh yeah. It's not really the Avengers theme. It's a how do I put this? It's not really Avengers theme. He was trying to make a theme for the Justice League, so it's dum 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 da 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 da. Da, 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 like kind of Wonder Woman, Justice League, kind of Avengers thing. So it's you can feel, because Elfman did do the Avengers themes.
Yeah, I wonder what it could have been if we could have just kept Junkie XL.
Oh, Junkie XL was going to give you a Man of Steel vibe. He was going to give you the Man of Steel. It was going to pump it, man. It was going to be thrubbing.
Yeah, but that would be something that you could put on the phone's YouTube and put headphones and listen while you walk outside. Avengers theme is not something like, and the other, that's not something you could do.
The Avengers theme is a little bit different, but Danny Elfman did make the Avengers theme, so it is what it is, But at the end of the day, I would say that he composed all those things, so there would be elements from the Avengers. The thing with Danny Elfman that kind of, when I first heard the theme, let me put it to you this way. When I first heard the themes, they had the audio for the themes, we weren't watching it on the screen or anything. When I first saw the themes, I was horribly disappointed. I thought they were mediocre. And then as it started to continue on, as I was watching the promos in England for the different Avengers and I was listening to the theme, it grew on me. And then when I saw it in the movie, some parts of it's still great on my last nerve. But in the movie, it really does. There's a particular tone to the movie where he kind of moves from the Zack Snyderish tone into, by the end of the movie, he's full blown into this sort of Justice League Unlimited, Justice League 2001 kind of theme, kind of thing going on.
Had actually the better tune. I didn't really like
the animated movie. You find so? I wouldn't say so. I would say it's more or less the same. It's like an animated, because you remember the animated movie is kind of like fantasy and it's kind of like for kids and
mostly on those two cartoons.
In fact, I think Danny Elfman's theme is actually better than the animated theme. The animated theme is very much anthemic and very superhero-ish, superhero-ish. It's just the cliche superhero. And Danny Elfman's theme is a little bit more intricate to me in how it's going and doing different things. It's got some subtleties, some nuances to it that I sort of enjoy, because it's kind of, it moves from bad and evil with the dum 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 da, da, da. It's a Batman theme, really, if you think about it.
Something like that. Actually, from the Avengers things, the only thing I can remember is that da 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 da, and that's it. That's all I actually remember when I'm trying to think about the Avengers.
But he does get he gets kind of superheroish at a certain point, and then he kind of goes down into this minor key and this weird thing he's doing, which is very intriguing to me as a composer, because he's doing it's very minimalistic. He's very simplistic in how he's doing his theme. It reminds you of the Avengers at certain points in time. He did compose that, and that may grate on some people's nerves. And then at another point in time, it's kind of dark. And then at another point in time, it's very cliche, superhero-ish, cartoony, annoying like the hell for me. But I go through the different moves, because Danny Elfman, he mood swings a lot in his songs, and so that's what I like about his stuff. Whereas the Justice League Unlimited and the Justice League 2001, they're very straightforward superheroes. Dun, 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 come to save the day.
By the way, it's almost 20 minutes to midnight, and I need to wake up in the morning.
Man, so I'll catch you later, bro. I just wanted to say some other DCEU news, but if you want to leave the hangout, no problem with me. I'm gonna just check out the chat section, see what people have to say, and then I'm rolling out of here myself.
And Vincent, if he wants to join him, he could take my place.
Oh, who's that?
Latest commenter, Damien and Anton Vincent.
Oh, yeah, from my country. Sure, man. No problem. Blessings, man. You have a good night. All right, man. Yeah, Damien Anton. Snyder takes his time to tell a story. Definitely. He does, Damien Anton Vincent. And he says, Danny Elfman is lazy. I wouldn't say he's lazy, my bro. I wouldn't say that, but I would say that he is he just straight up took the Batman theme at certain points and just dumped it into the movie. But I think he tried to keep it simple to appeal to a wider audience base. So I don't think he's lazy. I mean, the dude is a spectacular composer. But I just think that what Zack Snyder was going for initially, he kind of deviated from that and went in a different direction. So that the movie sounded more kiddie friendly, kind of like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade kind of music, very adventuresome. And this movie wasn't necessarily only going for adventure; it was going for depth. It was going for some serious, dramatic, suspenseful, thrilling moments, thriller moments, more than being an adventure flick, straight up adventure flick. So I think that that was it. He said, Damien Antovisa said the movie spoon-fed. It was spoon feeding, and the music symbolized that. To a certain degree, you're absolutely correct. The music was very literal. It kind of spoon fed certain moments. It kind of softened up what would have been more dramatic moments, you know, like the parademon slamming against the glass and the little girl getting afraid. And that scared the crap out of everybody. And that was good. But there probably was going to be a lot more of those kinds of moments in the movie, just based on Junkie XL's way of using music. You just listen to what he did in Batman v Superman, with the suspense filled moments and how he would bring that tension in the music. And, you know, even though the movie would have been comical and would have comical moments, it wouldn't have been so literal. He would have been more, he'd have gone a little bit deeper with it. It'd be more mature. So I think Danny Elfman was kind of mostly what happens in Marvel movies as well. He kind of took it at face value and kind of just basically sort of signaled to you what was going to happen, sort of like, you know, he was going to signal to you if it was comical, signal to you if it was going to be scary, signal to you that it was going to be a heroic moment. He kind of signals to you, like you say, spoon feed you, instead of kind of leave you on the edge of your seat trying to wonder what's going to happen next kind of feeling. Kind of like The Matrix did that a lot. Made you be on the edge of your seat, wondering the tension, and got you biting your fingers and clenching your two toes and squeezing your behind because you're just scared. You don't know what's going to happen next. That's kind of what Junkie XL kind of pulls off in Hans Zimmer very well. I think Junkie XL does it excellently. And he even gives that dark tone sometimes. It makes the movie really dark. And so I think that's what we missed. And we'll get that in the Snyder Cut. Now let's talk a little bit more about the other parts of the DCEU really quickly. By the way, shout out to Cyan Blue, Damian Anton, Vincent, Tommy Temper, and also my boy R2 Lemonin. All you guys who participate in some way, shape, or form in this discussion, which is still going on, and we are keeping it buzzing with the DCEU. So there are a number of other things happening in the DCEU. Damian Anton, Vincent, I just want to throw it out there. Do you want to join the Hangout? Just tell me yes or no. I'm going to send the link very quickly so you can join the Hangout. We had a couple guests today on our Hangout. It was really dope having all of you guys. I would like to see you, man. Damian Anton, Vincent from Trinidad and Tobago, bro. Let's come up on the Hangout, man. You don't have to show your face. You can always keep your face mask and just let's have a little conversation, man. I know you are a Snyder fan for sure. Snyder till you die. And I know there's certain elements in the movie that you didn't particularly like, so you can express your opinion on that. But let's just talk a little bit more about Aquaman and also Shazam. Shazam, there was a poster that came out with Shazam drinking a drink, and it's been basically spoofing the DCU, and it's been everywhere. The meme has been everywhere, and that's been funny as daylight. So we also had some news on, I believe it's The Flash. I think Flashpoint. The Flash has been consulting with some people on Flashpoint, so that's also pretty cool. As well, we've been hearing about Aquaman, and that they have something prepared before Comic-Con comes out. And of course, David Sandberg, he has been putting out spoofing memes on Shazam. He's put out the first, what he's saying is an official trailer for Shazam, and you have the people looking up in the sky, looking towards as if it was going to be Superman that's saving them, and when you look, it's Shazam drinking that drink. So it's a very spoof-worthy moments, and it's funny as hell, and that's also cool. Also, I want to mention to you guys something else that I saw in, I believe it was Justice League. I saw it that had to do with, what was it, Cyborg, I think? Yes, Cyborg. And you know what's interesting? You know, I want to show you guys this, but I think copyright will bother me otherwise. But I want you guys to go back to the DCEU. Go back to the clip of Cyborg being born that Diana was watching at, and listen to the sound of the mother box as it breathes life into Cyborg. That's the first time we actually hear the sound of the mother box. It's actually in Batman v Superman, and it's not in Justice League. The first time we actually hear a mother box working is in Batman v Superman. I thought that was an interesting tidbit for you guys to go back, watch Batman v Superman, and listen carefully as the mother box is making its noise, as it's pouring energy and life into Cyborg to bring him to life as a sentient being. But Cyborg, as we all know, as we just had a very extensive discussion on, he is actually he's actually a sentient being, but he's not human. Damian Anton Vincent says, recently someone mentioned, well, he has a brain, actually. He has a human brain, and he has a human heart, I think. So he's partly human, I guess. Damian Anton Vincent says, and remember, he has alien technology. He's an alien machine, basically. Anyway, Damian Anton Vincent says, recently someone mentioned the Russian family to Snyder, but Snyder asks, what Russian family? Yeah, I did talk about that somewhere. Maybe I erased that. Yes, Zack Snyder doesn't know anything about the Russian family. It seems that Joss Whedon is responsible for that. It's possible. Of course, we do know, though, that Zack Snyder's production team went down to Latvia, and they shot a ton of scenes in Latvia, Russia. So it may be that he just does not know them as the Russian family. That could be another thing. Or it may be that Joss Whedon did it. Irregardless, I still think that the Russian family played a very good role in Justice League, and I've flushed that out before. Damian Anton Vincent says, I'm good, not very good at speaking on camera. Hey, man, listen, man, you got to come out the shadows, my friend, and just talk, man. It doesn't matter if you're good at, look at me, man. Look at the video. I'm in front of my bed. There's a pillow behind. There's a bunch of clothes on this side here. Look, dude, just put yourself out there. Don't worry about it. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and express your opinions. And you won't believe how much people will love you. I mean, guys came on here and they were all kinds of different things were going on with them, and we had a hangout anyway. And the whole point behind it is to discuss as human beings one with another. You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised how much you talk about different things. It'll be fun, man. It'd be fun. Anyway, if you pass on it, it's not a problem. I'm not going to try and force you into doing it, but think about it, man. I would love to have you on board speaking about these things, because the more people talk about these things, I think the more we get to actually know more about these things than the values in them. But yeah, you're right. Zack Snyder said he didn't know anything about any Russian family, so it's possible that we didn't put that in, and the CG on that thing would have to be, he knocked it out of the park in terms of CG, unless Zack Snyder had the CG for something else, or he had the actual venue for something else, and Whedon just did the indoor scenes. I don't know. We'll see. But you see, I even yawned on camera. These are just no rules. But I'm just like putting myself out there, and people told me all kinds of names about how I appear as well. So I mean, it is what it is. I was going to talk to you guys about something else in the DCEU. We talked about the Snyder Cut being released. We talked about Cyborg. We talked about Man of Steel. We talked about all kinds of things. But something else I had to talk to you guys about. Let me see if I can remember what it is. Something else happened recently. We talked about Flash movie, that the Flash movie is moving on. We talked about Shazam and Comic-Con. We talked about upcoming Aquaman movie. Something else. It's just one more thing I probably have to say. I just can't remember what it is. Can't remember what it is. But anyway, leave your comments in the comment section in your views on the DCE. Oh yeah, okay, I remember now. Yeah, so Zack Snyder, we were saying, we were talking about the Snyder Cut, and one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about was some people were talking about how Zack Snyder, how he depicts how he depicted, they were coming down on Joss Whedon for how the movie, that is Justice League, was depicted. And some people went and they did their own cut of Justice League. And I talked to you guys about Heroic Gateway, that they actually did a cut of Justice League. I didn't really enjoy any of the cuts of Justice League that the fans did. But Heroic Gateway was able to see a cut of Justice League, right? Now, from what I've learned is also that Heroic Gateway, they thought that the cut that they saw was amazing. Now, the cut that they saw, the question is it a completed cut? If it's a completed cut, then that's awesome, because all the post-production, everything is done. That would be awesome, all right? I'm wondering if they have seen a completed cut of Justice League, or if they're still working on finishing off the details of that cut for Justice League. Either way, I know all of us want to see a cut of Justice League. Either way, they're really lucky to see the cut of Justice League. And in addition, it would mean if they did really see a completed cut of Justice League, that there's something ready to just be put on DVD and Blu-ray and sent to us. And it's just a matter of time before that happens. So what I'm basically saying is that those of you who were critical of the theatrical cut of Justice League, you're going to get to see that Snyder Cut. And when you see it and you realize how much it's similar, to the theatrical cut, I want you guys to acknowledge that the theatrical cut was not that bad as you guys were making out. Some people really hated the theatrical cut, and I just don't understand that. How you can hate that? It might be a diluted down version of what Zack Snyder was going to do, and it might be a condensed version of what Zack Snyder was going to do. But at the end of the day, just like with BVS theatrical cut and BVS ultimate cut, they're the same story. They're the same. It's just it flushed out more and maybe linearized a lot more. So we'll see what happens when we see the Snyder Cut. Those of you who still want to purchase the current Justice League DVD or Blu-ray, do so. But just remember, we're still all one when it comes to releasing the Snyder Cut. So don't forget to put #release the Snyder Cut and whatever you have to do or say. Anyways, it was fun talking to you guys today. It's 4:51, almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I missed going to work because the stores are all closed where I live. If there's nothing else you guys want to say right now, we're gonna wrap it up right here. If you got any other extra DCEU news for me, please share it. I was looking for any new trailers or any new things in the DCEU. I haven't seen anything really new. They talk about they're talking about the DCEU MCU rivalry. Which I personally, I don't think there's much of a rivalry. I think that competition is good. The MCU being present is good. I think that a lot of people, you know, the MCU has its base, but I personally don't really care too much about the MCU's base except for Black Panther, and I do like some X-Men movies, and that's my thing. So for me, the DC Extended Universe is the joint. For other people, they like the MCU. I heard a lot of people talk about Krypton and how much they loved Krypton in the final episode. I thought the final episode was fantastic up to the last 5 minutes. My opinion differs to the other people in that respect. Now, some of you love Krypton. Damien Antivista says, I enjoy Justice League. Dave the Film Junkie called out Heroic Gateway on that and said that they cropped out an image from another site. Okay. They cropped out another image from another site. So you're saying that Heroic Gateway did not actually see Justice League. That's what you're saying? That they're lying? I don't know. Heroic Gateway were the ones who brought up, I got some stuff from them. Some Cyborg stuff. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'll tell you what they have. Heroic Gateway has a bunch of stuff. Hold on a second. I got a lot of stuff up here. But Heroic Gateway, hold up. I don't know where it is, but oh, night scenes. Right. They had a water. Try to find it. I don't have it right now. It's somewhere around. I just don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. I put it somewhere. Anyway, I got footage of Cyborg, the extended scenes, and Heroic Gateway's watermark was all over those things. So I don't know. But anyway, just wanted to leave that there. Any other comments you guys have? Comments are always welcome. A leaked image of the meeting, the league's meeting Alfred for the first time. Yeah, they did that, but they did a bunch of other stuff. I don't know where I put that stuff with Justice League. I was looking for it right now. I just can't seem to find it. DCEU. I have it in one of these files here. I thought I had those deleted scenes somewhere. I'm kind of surprised. Maybe I deleted all of it. Who knows? I do crazy stuff sometimes. But I had all of the scenes. I had all the stuff with Cyborg and Hero Gateway was responsible for that stuff. Anyways, guys, it's time to go. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. And yeah, they attached their watermark afterwards. Don't trust them. Well, you know, it is alleged, and they put it up on Twitter. But I do think that they will be that Zack Snyder stuff cut will be coming out at some point in time. Snyder Cut will be coming out at some point in time. So I'm looking forward to that. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. You guys keep that pressure on everybody. And that's about it for me, man. If you guys have any other questions or any other things concerning the DCEU, I don't got no more new DCEU news. I'm going to wrap it up right here, okay? They were talking about how Snyder's original plan included Justice League 3. I don't know about all of that. But I heard there are all kinds of rumors out there about Steven Spielberg joining the DCEU, that Tom, what's his name? The guy for Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise, that he might be joining the DCEU, and Steven Spielberg might be directing Black Hawk, and all kinds of crazy stuff. They talked about rumors that, you know, Ben Affleck maybe leave as the Batman, and you know, Flashpoint's not happening anymore, and all. There's just rumors all over the place. In the meantime, movies are rolling. You know, Suicide Squad is in production, and they're shooting it right now. So Suicide Squad 2 is definitely coming out. They're calling them Birds of Prey instead of Gotham City Sirens. So that should be interesting. And we have a bunch of directors on board. We have the New Gods director, etc. In fact, I don't know if I have this downloaded somewhere, but we really got a huge amount of possibilities for the future of the DCEU, which is really cool. Trying to find what I need to find here, but I can't seem to find it right now. But there's a whole bunch of movies that are possibly going to happen in the future. So that the DCU it's got an interesting future. You just have to keep on supporting it. Anyways, guys, it's about time for me to go. I've been talking for a long time. We're going to wrap it up right here. I hope you guys have a great afternoon, great night. Anton Vincent, Damien, Anton Vincent, who else we got here? Cyan Blue, Tommy Temper, and R2 Lemon. You guys have a great afternoon and a great week. Tune in for other streams that might happen during the week. And yeah, God bless you all, man. All right.